I'm Amelia. Today, we're going to talk about a silent, painful dynamic that unfolds in countless relationships, leaving one person feeling perpetually anxious and alone. So, does this feel familiar? You crave connection with your partner. You reach out, you send a text, you suggest spending time together, and in response you feel him pull away. He becomes distant, quiet, busy with work, or lost in his phone. The more you try to bridge the gap, the wider it seems to become. A familiar panic starts to rise in your chest. You start replaying every conversation, analyzing every word. You ask for reassurance, and he tells you you're overthinking, that you're being needy or too emotional. And the worst part is, you start to believe it. You start to think, am I asking for too much? Am I the problem here? What if I told you that you're not crazy, you're not broken, and you're not too much? What if I told you that you are simply one half of a powerful, invisible dance? A pattern so common, psychologists have given it a name. Today, we're going to turn on the lights and expose this dynamic for what it is. This is the anxious-avoidant trap, and understanding it is the first step to freeing yourself. To see the dance, we first need to understand the dancers. This dynamic is typically created by two different styles of attachment, often formed in childhood. First, there is the partner with an anxious attachment style. This is often the person who feels they are putting more effort into the relationship. At their core, their greatest fear is abandonment. They need frequent reassurance and connection to feel safe. When they sense distance from their partner, their internal alarm system goes into overdrive. To calm this anxiety, they engage in what we call protest behavior. This can look like excessive texting and calling, trying to provoke a reaction, even a negative one, or constantly seeking validation. Their internal monologue sounds like, he's quiet, something is wrong, I need to fix it, I need to know he still loves me right now. Then, we have the partner with an avoidant attachment style. This person's greatest fear is the opposite, engulfment, or the loss of their independence and autonomy. They learned early on that relying on others can be suffocating or disappointing, so they value self-sufficiency above all else. They equate intimacy with a loss of self. When their anxious partner seeks closeness and reassurance, it triggers their internal alarm system. To them, it feels like pressure, like a demand. Their response is to create distance to feel safe again. This can look like shutting down emotionally, burying themselves in work or hobbies, or physically leaving the room. Their internal monologue is, I feel pressured. I need space. I need to get away to feel like myself again. Do you see the tragic setup? One person's solution is the other person's trigger. Now let's watch the dance. It unfolds in a predictable, vicious cycle. Step 1. The anxious partner feels a natural need for connection or senses a small amount of distance. They reach out for reassurance. Are you okay? We haven't really talked today. Step 2. This act of reaching out, which seems normal and healthy, triggers the avoidant partner's fear of engulfment. They feel the pressure. They respond by pulling away, giving a short, one-word answer, saying they're busy, or just going quiet. Step 3. This withdrawal is the worst-case scenario for the anxious partner. It confirms their deepest fear of abandonment. Their anxiety skyrockets. Their protest behavior kicks in, and they start pursuing harder, more texts, more questions. What's wrong? Did I do something? We need to talk about this. Step 4. This intensified pursuit is the ultimate confirmation of the avoidant partner's fear. They feel completely suffocated. They build an even bigger wall. They might say, I don't want to talk about it, become defensive, or physically leave. Step 5. The anxious partner is now left feeling completely alone, rejected, and emotionally starved, while the avoidant partner feels relieved to have their space, but also guilty and misunderstood. This painful dance continues until the anxious partner either gives up in exhaustion or the avoidant partner, feeling the distance has become too great, makes a small gesture of reconnection. There's a brief period of relief and closeness, but because the underlying fears haven't been addressed, the cycle is destined to begin again. It is utterly exhausting. So, how do you break the cycle? This is the most important part. You cannot change your partner. You can only change your own steps in the dance. The power to stop this cycle lies with the person who is aware of it, and since you are watching this, that person is likely you. Here are the steps to reclaim your peace of mind. First, recognize the dance, not the dancer. The next time this cycle begins, your first job is to observe it without judgment. Say to yourself, here it is. This is not about me being needy. This is my anxiety being triggered. This is not about him being cold and heartless. This is his avoidance being triggered. By naming the pattern, you separate it from your self-worth. It's a dynamic, not a reflection of your value. Second, learn to self-soothe your anxiety. When your alarm system goes off, your instinct is to run to your partner for reassurance. This is the move that perpetuates the dance. Your new job is to learn to give that reassurance to yourself first. Before you send that text, before you demand to talk, pause. Take a few deep breaths. Write down your anxious thoughts in a journal. Call a trusted friend. Go for a walk. The goal is to get through the peak of the anxiety wave on your own. You are teaching your nervous system that you can survive the feeling of distance without needing an immediate fix from your partner. Third, change your communication. Stop the protest behavior. Instead of asking, "Why are you being so quiet?" which sounds like an accusation, try a different approach. Communicate your own feeling and need without making it about them. For example, "I've been feeling a bit disconnected lately, and I would love to spend some quality time together this week. Would you be open to planning a date night?" You are shifting from a complaint to a clear, non-threatening invitation. This gives the avoidant partner something concrete to respond to instead of a feeling they need to run from. And fourth, cultivate your own life. The anxious-avoidant dynamic thrives on dependency. The most powerful long-term solution is to build a life for yourself that is so full, so rich with friendships, hobbies, and purpose, that your relationship is a wonderful part of your life, but not the entirety of it. When you have your own sources of validation and happiness, your partner's need for space no longer feels like a catastrophic threat. It's just space. You have a full world to turn to while he recharges. This is not a tactic. This is the path to genuine wholeness. Breaking free from this trap is not about finding the magic words to make your partner change. It's about recognizing that you cannot control their steps, but you have absolute control over your own. By learning to self-soothe, communicating your needs clearly, and building a life you love, you stop the frantic pursuit. And a funny thing happens when you stop chasing. Sometimes the other person stops running. Your need for connection is valid. Your desire for intimacy is healthy. You are not too much. You are simply using the wrong map for a very confusing territory. Now, you have a new one. What part of this dance felt most familiar to you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. You will see you are not alone. And for more insights into the psychology of a fulfilling life, make sure you subscribe.